Hello, we're rolling into another episode of the DRH show. As usual, in each episode, I'll be talking to interesting people within psychology, mental health, and wellness. Today, I'm joined by a motivational speaker, youth advocate, and a TV presenter, Unisa Kamara. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis, for having me on this platform. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. It's great to have you here, Unisa. So let's start off with you telling us your backstory, your trajectory in life, and how you ended up doing what you're doing.
Well, I must say you and I have much in common. I see that you're an international speaker, so am I, and I see that you try to educate people all over the world, and which indeed I'm quite impressed by. And that's my motive as well, trying to make a difference in this world that we're on. And I feel as though life is a journey. You know, I was born in Africa. I moved to America at the age of 9 years old. And I grew up in one of the roughest, toughest neighborhoods in America. And what I've seen and what I have experienced is what has molded me to who I am today, what I have become. And the thing is that a lot of people say, oh, it's a tragic story. It's such a a strategy or whatever have you. It's a shame that you had to go through what you went through. But we need to understand that life is a journey, and along this journey, we have different routes we can take, and the path that we decide to partake upon, eventually is going to lead us to our destination, whether good or bad. It's us to try to make the right decision. And being that my son was killed in September 2019, you know, it kind of made me dig deep in within me as to say, well, you know what? This young man that killed my son was, he had his own conflicts in within him that he was dealing with. You know, I'm not going to say the actions that he took upon were not of his own actions, but he was fighting with himself. And the pain that I went through, the pain that my family went through, is something that I definitely, absolutely, utterly do not want to see other families going through. So, with that said, I've decided to reach out to these youths, someone like him, around the world to try to make a difference in their life as far as visualization, visualizing their actions, their family's pain, and so forth.
Thank you for sharing to us your powerful story. It's really true that those people who've got the most powerful story, they have the urge to help people who've been, experiencing the same trouble that they've experienced in the past. But before I dig deeper to your advocacy and what you've been doing in terms of, youth violence, I just want to touch upon something which is more relevant, slightly more relevant. Christmas. How did you spend your Christmas, especially this, what they say, a very different year? How did you cope with the lockdown, and how was your Christmas in relation to lockdown?
My Christmas, I I love to say it was a bliss. It was quiet, you know.
Hmm.
Um, my family was due to come to the UK because majority of my family are in America. And normally they come back and forth. We tend to take turns visiting each other. So this year they were due to come here. But unfortunately, due to the lockdown, they weren't able to come. But however, were able to communicate via net. And which this time I kind of utilized this period to reflect on my strategies. We strategize on my approach as to what to do next, and I meditate a lot. So this lockdown, I don't want to say it's good, because it has a shift. The shift is that a lot of us were not able to do our seminars, our conferences, and majority of the youths that I deal with prefer the face-to-face interactions. So with that said, it was quite difficult on that end. And it was not just for me, but a lot of my associates that I tend to work with also felt the same. So on that note, it was difficult. But on another note, it gave me, because I am a workaholic, Dennis. I'm always out there trying to do something else.
Mm.
And even the coronavirus, when it just started, instead of us just sitting at home, we were reaching out to elderlies, single parents that were not able to, get the funding or the support that they needed. So my team and I, we started going out, basically trying to support them, giving them a phone call, trying to find out how they're doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially, most importantly. And we were delivering food, at that time, the initial stages of this virus and pandemic, as they would say, and we were trying to help out a lot of people that were in need of our help. So back to the Christmas aspect, I'm just grateful to see another year, and I hope that everyone was safe, everyone followed the protocols that were put in place. But it was somewhat relaxing, which was needed.
Mhm. And of course, have you've said a lot of important works that you were doing. It's been impacted by the coronavirus, and
Absolutely.
yeah, you are a workaholic. And I've done a bit of research, Unisa, and I understand you also do like a workshop to promote harmonious relationship among youth. Can you tell us more about Kamara workshop?
Well, Kamara Workshop was created in June 2018. We intended to empower, mentor, and support a lot of our clients. Kamara and Kamara Workshop, it's a family-based company, which indeed we do a lot of networking with different organizations, different, charities, so when we created Kamara and Kamara Workshop, it was basically an umbrella because I've created businesses in America as well. And my whole purpose in life is to make a difference, Dennis. And as you're quite aware, nothing is guaranteed. We know of now, but we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't even know what the next hour brings. But we can take the precautions and we can, do everything that we can do to make a difference. So when I created Kamara and Kamara Workshop, it's basically trying to reconnect the bond between families and youths. And a lot of our clients, we just don't acknowledge them as clients. We acknowledge them as family members. The way I would advise and the way I would communicate with a family member is the same way I would communicate with a client. Objective, listening. So if we're able to listen, we're able to find out the root of the issue. So we tend to do a lot of listening, and a lot of solutions we give, it's of your own ideas. We tend to ask a lot of questions and we tend to give you feedback as to what you say. So Kamara and Kamara Workshop is just the umbrella of other companies that are under us, and which indeed we're very grateful when we go out to families. We tend to do a lot of outreach. We tend to do the seminars, um, the conferences, but most importantly, we have a team of psychologists that we work with in-house and also the ones that we do the outreach with. So we are quite grateful for Kamara and Kamara Workshop. It's just a door opener to also support different charities all over the world that we do. Sometimes when you do good, Dennis, as you're quite aware, it's
Mhm.
not for you to go and publicize it. You understand?
Mhm.
The work that you do has to come from within you. So that's what we do. We look at everyone And the human race, we're all a family. The color don't matter. If someone cuts me, I feel the pain. Just when I lost my son, the pain I felt. Imagine someone who's green or purple losing their child, their loved one, the pain they go through. So we all have that emotional aspect. We're all social beings. We are meant to connect. So with us, we just look at Kamara and Kamara workshop as a foundation to bring the human race together as one.
And of course, Unisa, aside from Kamara and Kamara Workshop, you also have two companies. You've been really very busy. So tell us about your company, and like what you've said, a lot of the good things that you do, you don't tend to publicize it. But tell us about the core values of your company. What do you aim to achieve with your companies?
We aim to make a difference. They say, I have to tell you this story, Dennis. And I know many people that are going to be watching this will be like, oh, Unisa loves that story. This is my favorite story in the whole world about this little boy that was at the beach and the water was just sending those heavy waves, and the waves were just bringing the fishes onto the land, the sand, the beach. And this little boy was just going around picking up one fish at a time and throwing it in. And then more waves will come out, more fishes will come out. And this little boy was taking his time. After about 30 minutes or so, this older gentleman approached this young boy and he looked at him and said, "You're wasting your time. The waves are going to come bringing in these fishes, and you're just taking one and throwing it in. You're wasting your time." The waves came in again with more fishes. The little boy looked at the gentleman, bends down, and picked up another fish. And he said to the gentleman, in a nice, polite manner, and said, "I just saved one. I made a difference." So, what I tend to do is I consider myself, my company, my associates, the people I deal with, the people I work with, as that little boy on that beach. The little fish, we're not going to save everyone, but the one that we save, we hope to make a difference. And they say, teach one, lift one, or teach one, save one. However you look at it, in whatever perspective, that counts. That makes a difference. So in America, I built Kamara and Kamara homes, the Kamara homes, which we used to go and purchase these homes. And as many people are aware, in the project, you can be walking down the street, a bullet can come flying and hit you. And I've witnessed that. You can get stabbed. You can get in the crossfire with the police and the individuals. You can get caught in the crossfire within the individuals themselves. So it's kind of risky. And if you enter this projects, as they'll call them in America, here they call them council properties. If you enter, the filth, the smell, it's so excuse me, so bad, and rats, roaches everywhere. And these people are paying rent, and they're living in such a filth. So us at Kamara Homes, what we used to do was we used to do the outreach. We used to have a community, we used to hire the community center from the landlords, the council, and we'll have meetings with these residents, with these people that live there, and we will see what their goals are, what their aims are. And when we get a property, many of them have bad credit. So instead of them going through the credit check, instead of you paying rent to these people, you can pay us to rent and you own your own property. And you can live in a neighborhood where your children, because sometimes the neighborhood you live in can affect the child, the parents, mentally, physically, in so many aspects. So we strive on that. Now, being in the UK, doing Khmer youths, doing all these different outreach, these charities that we do to give love, show love, we tend to just want to leave an imprint, not a big imprint, but if we can make a big imprint, that would be wonderful. But the little imprints that we make gives us that joy, make us come alive, and that's a feeling that I want everyone to feel. I want everyone to come alive, and I always say, "What is your why? Who are you? You know, what makes you come alive? What are you striving towards? What's your overall goal?"
Mhm. And talking about that imprint that you mentioned, I can definitely tell that you have a big imprint because aside from your company, you're also a TV presenter at Amaze TV. And it stands by its name because Amaze TV, you have a range of amazing programs. And at the forefront of what you do is mental health. And could you tell us what Amaze TV has been doing for the past couple of years that you've been running the shows?
Amaze TV is a community, you know, television station, but we cater internationally. We have so many viewers from so many different countries, and we get so many feedbacks. We try to make a difference because the mainstream television, you're limited as to what you can say, what you can do, and so forth. We at Amaze TV, our values are respecting each other and the audience. Treat someone, you never know who's watching. So, mind your language, your conduct, and, we can give you the path. We have a lot of, religious shows that we air, and we have the mental aspect of it as well. And I also do this political show on Sundays that I tend to sit with a lot of political leaders in Africa, and and we talk about the corruption. So when you say Amaze TV, now the biggest thing that we have done at Amaze TV is that we have launched a charity called Give Love, Show Love, where, as I said again, just to go back onto the little boy on the beach, we know they have a lot of charities, organizations out there, but they're not able to reach everyone. So we at Amaze TV came up with the Give Love, Show Love, where we support charities that are just starting out, organizations that are just starting out. And David and I did a show where we spoke about giving back. We decided to surprise everyone that supported Camaro Youths with £1,000. We did not care how much you gave. You could have given 10 pence, 5 pence. It's the thought that count. And, you know, you could have been struggling, but you still took money out your pocket, out of your mouth, out of your children's mouth to support somebody else. So we decided to give back to everyone that has supporting Camaro youths. And the thing is that we reached out to so many people and we surprised them. And also, the most important thing that I loved about it, Dennis, is the fact that we were trying to encourage people. We're not saying this £1,000 we're giving you, you can just go and lavish it. Maybe out of that £1,000, you can find another charity, another organization, or just see someone on the streets and buy them food. Give. And giving is such a good feeling, Dennis. I was reading some of your work and I'm so impressed with, what you do with the American organization.
Thank you.
And I'm so impressed. And that's what made me reach out to you in a way, because I love being in the midst of positivity. I love being in the midst of people that utilize their brain and to say, I can make a difference. And this show that you're doing, you are the first to do such, and I'm quite impressed with that as well. So that's what impacts me the most in making a difference in being among Amaze TV, because we try to do something that has never been done. we try to stand out. We try to show the communities, that there's nothing that is impossible. Once you put your mind to it, there's nothing you cannot accomplish. The only thing that stops you is yourself, is your mental belief.
I can really sense the motivational speaker and you talking to the audience. Now, for those who want to watch Amaze TV, I understand this is an online television. So all they have to do, correct me if I'm wrong, Unisa, is they just go to Google or they just watch it on Facebook. Is that right?
That's correct. But also, we have a box at Amaze TV that people tend to also hire or buy, and which in it we have over 1,000 channels that they can have access to. But again, we are on Apple Store, Google, YouTube, Facebook. We tend to do our Facebook Live. We're all over social media because then it says you're quite aware. People are getting tired of paying for cable and they're not home.
Yeah.
A lot of people are on the go. So why continue to pay for cable when you're not going to be home to watch that program? When you can just log on online and you can watch your program.
Exactly. I myself, I cancelled my BBC license fee, but that's another matter.
I'm not going to say that, Dennis, because you want BBC.
Yeah, I know, but I cancelled my license fee, and that was 2 years ago. But anyway, back to you, Unisa. I understand at the core of what you do is advocating for youth violence, and I know this is a very sensitive topic. But could you just, from your experience, could you tell us what's the main cause of youth violence and how can we prevent it?
Dennis, as you're quite aware, I'm very passionate about the youths. Violence is something I myself have encountered, being shot a couple of times, stabbed. So I have experienced that. And if you and I dig into that, we can sit here and go through this whole session in that. But I can point out some of the main things that lead to it: poverty, lack of education, drugs, disconnection with the community, with the families, you know, also the abuse at home, on the streets, lead these youths to get involved with gangs. So when we say the youth violence is such an in-depth conversation that one cannot just sit and expand on. I tend to deal with these youths, Dennis, and some of the stories that I hear will bring tears to your eyes. And when I was growing up, Dennis, because I'm an old man now, I used to be a Mr. Tough guy. But as we go on, we tend to get very emotional. I'm very emotional, but one thing, as a professional, is that you cannot let your emotion loose in front of, these youths. We're there to show them strength. We're there to support them. We're there to empower them. We're there to mentor them. We cannot let ourselves, express any form of weakness in front of them. They look at us as the shoulder to lean on, you know, hypothetically speaking, but they look at us as that role model. So we tend to empower them. But yeah, that youth, violence it's an in-depth thing, and poverty, drugs mainly are some of the causes, of this youth violence in the streets.
You mentioned about causes of youth violence such as poverty and but you haven't mentioned about the role of the parents, because from my understanding is that it's not just a societal problem, but it's also in a sense it's a personal there's a personal element into it, because there's the role of the parents. So what I'm interested to hear from you, Unisa, is how can we support parents so that they can have a more fulfilling role in towards preventing youth violence. I understand you yourself, you're a parent, so probably you can tell us some insights about this.
All right. Yes, parents have a huge role to play in the lives of these children, of our young ones, of our youths, but also the community tend to play its part as well. One way I communicate with the parent is let them understand that communication is crucial with your children. You have to communicate with them. You have to understand where they're coming from. When your child walks out that door, you literally have no idea what they encounter, what they're going through. But if you talk to them, just spend 10, 20, 30 minutes. I do understand the single parent aspect, and I do understand the parent working so many hours, and it's hard for them to spend time due to the fact that they're trying to put a roof over their children's head and also food in their stomachs. But that 20, 30 minutes, just a quick conversation will never hurt. And also, these moments that you spend with your children makes a difference. These are memories that they're going to have. These are things that they can convey onto their children. And also, we need the parents to understand generations change. Just imagine yourself when you were a child and you were going through your little havoc, creating your havocs. You understand? And your parents used to say, sit down, don't go out there. And you felt as though your parent did not understand you. You did not, you felt as though your friends understood you more than your parents. So we need to let the parents know that they need to communicate with their children. They don't need to pass judgments. They need to listen to what the child, the youth, the young individual have to convey onto them, to build that relationship, to keep the door open. And me, whenever I talk to my youths, I listen to them and we build that communication line. Sometimes I'll be at home, they'll call me and just say, Mr. Kamara, do you have time? I just want to ask you some questions. And I'm more than happy to comply, sit and listen to what they have to say. You never know what one is going through. So my thing to all the parents is that by you building that communication, at times it's not easy. At times these youths just want their me time, no one to back down. As a parent, you have a role to play. We all do. Sometimes when I'm watching TV, because I hardly watch TV, but when I decide to put TV on, my child comes to me and say, "Hey, daddy," she get all hyper. I say, "Hey, baby, turn off the television," and I spend that quality time. That quality time is not going to take more than an hour
Uh, uh,
because they themselves get bored.
mm,
But just that quality time, and also they tend to replicate what they see at home. If they see you and daddy always fighting, they'll think it's a norm. They see daddy abusing mommy or mommy abusing daddy, they'll think it's a norm. They see violence in the home, they will think it's a norm. By them seeing calmness, they would adapt to that. Remember, children, when they say, give me a child by the age of 7, I'll tell you what that child will be, or I'll show you what that child can become. When your child see you studying all the time reading, that child eventually will start coming on to you as a child. And that's how you develop the behaviors of children. They see you reading, they will come and say, Daddy or Mommy, what are you reading? And you can explain to them and you can encourage them. That's how you build a child, not by pressuring them into go do this, go do that, always yelling. When you yell, you deviating from the whole situation, then anger will kick in. And there are so many different factors that I can go into in reference to that. When you communicate with someone, even with your partner, give your partner the opportunity to speak, to express themselves, and you in turn will do the same. We do a game called Pass Me the Pillow, where we have the youths with the families come in. And that is after the one-to-one, you know, sessions. Then we'll bring them together. And we will give whoever wants to start, the pillow be on the table. Take the pillow. This is your court now. This is your room. This is your floor. Express yourself.
Mhm.
And when you finish, who you want to respond to, you can pass them that pillow. Or if you want to just leave it as a journal, you put the pillow back on that table. And whoever wants to respond can take the pillow and have that time to give their feedback. So I love this, Dennis. These are all things I love to do, so I can go on for days.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, but I think what we can take from what you've said is that it's important that we, become good role models for our children. Also, the importance of communication and quality time. And although I'm not a parent myself, I understand that these are really important things that we have to instill to our children. Now, you mentioned earlier that you were tough when you were growing up, but right now you've kind of mellowed down. But I think there's another element of toughness that we have to, convey to our children, and that is resilience. The ability to bounce back. Can you talk us about some ways on how we could instill resilience to our children? Like when they encounter something, an adverse event, how can they recover?
Wow, that's a good one, Dennis. We need to teach them about self belief. You understand? If we can teach them about self belief, understanding themselves, that'll be perfect. We need to teach them about problem solving, accountability, self awareness, empower them, goal setting, time management, self discipline. And you are quite aware of the SWOT, SWOT, which is a strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and, you know, and threats. So if we're able to convey all this onto them, that will build that resilience. I always say if we're able to, have a child and nurture them and let them teach them about self-awareness, know your strength, know your weaknesses, know when to walk away. You walking away don't make you the weak individual. And when I speak, Dennis, I tend to go into layman terms. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone. I'm not trying to say I'm less than anyone, but I'm trying to find a level where we can connect on. And once I'm able to connect with them, and absolutely, we are supposed to play the role of a parent. There's a time to be tough, and there's a time to be that emotional being that they need. But also, there's a limit to everything. So building resilience in these youth is something that also we have a program called Kamara Youths, and that's one of our main focus: resilience, self-belief, understanding of self, taking accountability, being responsible of your actions, knowing your environment, knowing your needs and wants, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, knowing the strengths and opportunities, threats, and so forth. So with resilience is a realm. And once we can able to install this onto these youths, we can build that resilience in within them.
Mm. That is really spot on how to develop resilience among adolescents. The importance of communication and the importance of making them realize that they have the ability to bounce back through self-belief, through acknowledging their own weaknesses as well. As we can hear from you, Unisa, you're a very powerful motivational speaker, and I was looking at your website. You have a range of videos, and you also have a range of videos on your YouTube channel. So if you could just talk us through those motivational videos that you upload on your website and on your YouTube channel. What's your favorite videos among them?
I love all of them, Dennis. And the one that I just did for the end of the year 2020, I think is my favorite. The Who Am I? What makes me come alive? That's my favorite. You know, I spoke to an associate of mine, and we banter, I banter to all my associates, and as you can see on the mindful session, David and I, we always go back and forth, and which indeed I enjoy. I'm never too big to say I'm right. I'm never too small to say, okay, this is something I need to walk away from. We're all human beings. We're all learning. So my favorite video so far that I have yet to put onto my website, but it's on YouTube. It's who am I and what makes me come alive? And as human beings, as I've stated, we're social beings. We love the connection aspect. We want to be happy. Happiness is what we're all striving towards. But how do we gain that happiness? How do we know when we're happy because our spirit, we feel it in within us. Imagine, as I said in the video, you do something nice for a little youth, and this little youth looks up at you and say, thank you. You cannot help it but smile. And also, we did a show on mirror neurons, replicating what we do. We are human beings who feed off each other's energy. Sad to say, but it's a fact. So that's why I always try to persuade people, try to move away from negativity. If you cannot bring positivity into that element, into that environment, don't be in that midst. So, with that said, that is my favorite video so far because in life, and I always talk about finding your purpose, which leads to your passion. Um, I think that when we find that happiness in within us, we want to show it to other people. We want to strive towards that path. And life, as I've always said, is a journey. We're on a path. We're going to face our obstacles. Be strong, continue to be positive, and laws of attraction states positivity attracts positivity. Laws of attraction states the vibrations of the universe. And I love to read. I love to educate myself. I love to strive towards my goal. And I know what my goal is. I know what I'm trying to accomplish. So people that I encounter, we have to have the same goal, but also I'm not going to stop and say, well, Bobby, Dennis, you're not doing it, so why should I do it? No, I'll look at Dennis and say, okay, Dennis, you're kind of falling back, my friend, time to catch up. But I have to focus on mine. So when I say what makes me come alive is seeing the impact that I'm creating in the society that I live in and the world that I live in. I don't judge no one. I have myself to worry about and what it is that the legacy that I'm trying to leave.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, Dennis, who am I and
Mhm.
what brings me alive is my overall favorite.
Mhm. That is a brilliant message to for our audience, and for those who haven't seen the videos, I invite them to visit your website, and so they could also be motivated. Now, I just want to touch upon those points that you've raised when you were earlier. Obviously, you're a motivational speaker, and I suppose you always get to ask this question. Can you give us some ways on how we can find motivation and how exactly do we realize our true potential? Especially if you're a young person, you kind of wonder like, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? How do we navigate these issues, Unisa?
Back to my video, who am I? You know, when you know who you are, what gives you joy, you know what your purpose is. You know you want to continue that good feeling. A lot of us are stuck in a lot of jobs that we don't like, but that's not the end of your journey. You understand? It's never too late for you to start over. I'm not saying walk out of your job and say, I'm done with this. It's not making me happy. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm far from that. You can still work and still strive towards your goal. The whole aspect of us is to continue to grow and learn and find our path in life that gives us that joy. Now, each and every one of us have our own ways of being motivated. Now, if we're talking about self-motivation, there are things that you need to find as to say, what moves me? What makes me happy? What makes me come alive? You know, your potential is unlimited. The only thing that can stop you, as I've stated, is you. Knowing what you want, which is a self awareness aspect, is the beginning of your life, is the beginning of your growth. Once you can establish what it is that moves you, that brings you alive, you're on the journey of life. And you don't have to go out there and seek. Believe you me, the universe that we live in works in such mysterious ways that people will find you. And especially this day and age with social media, people, you will attract people and interact people that you would think, wow, how did this happen? The vibes that you give, which are the vibrations, that's what attract people. And when people meet you, your essence, your inner being, your spirit, they will feel. People can pretend, but believe you me, as time goes on, your true you will come out. But regardless, you can still go through this with affirmations. If you, we all face our obstacles, we all have our downtime. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. We're human beings. I listen to jazz. I'm up 4 in the morning, and someone will call me. You need to where you at? I'm downstairs in my office. I have the jazz playing. If I'm just in the mood to relax, I put on some candles. So we all have our own ways of motivating self. We all have to dig in within. Remember, it said no one knows you better than you. No one can feel your pain more than you. So whatever you're going through, only you know what you're going through. You need to find a path that brings you joy. And when you find that path, stay on that path. You don't have to worry about what the naysayers are telling you. You're doing it wrong, or you cannot accomplish it. You always gonna have naysayers. But the most important thing is self-belief.
Brilliant message, Unisa. Again, you've underscored the importance of self-belief, and I think that's an important message that we have to, convey to young people, even to, slightly older ones. But I want to step back a little. I want to highlight more of, the important work that you do within youth violence. So over the years that you've been working within youth violence, can you tell us some of the misconceptions that you've come across?
Dennis, are you sure you have the time for this?
Yeah.
Well, there's so much misconception in reference to youth violence. So many people tend to judge people. And I have, youths that come to me and say, Mr. Kamara, I was coming home from school and I was harassed by the police. I asked them why. There's no actual reason. They think I'm involved in the gang with the guys that were before me. Just because I just happened to be a couple of feet behind them. So I was harassed. The thing about us as a society, let's don't make these kids feel as though they're invincible, because that's what's going to make them create a mayhem. That's going to lead them to depression, suicide. But also, let's don't assume of the negativity of these youths. Each and every one of us has the potential to become a doctor, a lawyer, the race card, let's put that on the side. And let's look at each youth as our own children.
Mhm.
the misconceptions that I tend to hear are, oh, when I walk in the store, they think I'm going to steal. They think that we're all thieves because I'm Black. Mr. Kamara, do you know that, I was taken out of an element where I said I belong in? So I asked the kid, the youth, I was like, well, what do you mean by that? Because with me, Dennis, I always like to understand, the root of the issue, the root of the statement, the root of the essence of this conversation. I just don't want to jump in and run with it. So when I asked him, he said that his mother has paid for him to do tennis lessons. And his first time there, they refused to let him in because they said he did not belong there. And that frustrated him so bad, he did not want to go back. Now, let's think about this. Is it because he's Black? Is it because he's not from that community? There are a lot of questions that I can ask relating to that. But my objective with him at that point in time is to rebuild him. Now, I don't think any child can be broken. I think they can have their downtime, and which in it sometimes that downtime can take a long period of time to redevelop. And that's where good counseling comes in. That's where good communication comes in. That's where a good role model comes in. And I tend to tell a lot of them, the misconception, it's been here for years. The misunderstanding of race has been here for many years. The misunderstanding of religion has been here for years. We cannot resolve everything, but you know what? Let's focus on making you a better person. It's not every battle you have to win. You understand? It's a fight to be able to fight another day. So when you go to war, you have to strategize before you go into that battle. Because if you don't strategize mentally, because once you are strong mentally, the physical will follow through. So you have to strategize. You need to know that there are obstacles that are going to be facing you that you're going to face. You need to know how to handle yourself. And that's where the resilience aspect comes in. So I do tend to interact
Mm.
with a lot of those misconceptions.
Mhm. Absolutely. And of course, when it comes to, the misconceptions and talking about youth violence, another thing that we need to talk about is, online, the role of online. So can you talk us through about how can we avoid children being radicalized online?
Again, Dennis, as parents, we can only do but so much. This internet, www, world, let's just say the two W's, worldwide. And Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, said he do not allow certain things onto his platform. Absurd, ludicrous. Because if you build a little group, and you say child trafficking, which indeed that's another platform I'll be on. Because I did the domestic violence with the women's group. I did. Now I'm doing the men, child trafficking. I'm doing I've also done the, male and female trafficking in Africa. It's sad. And the thing is, there are so many groups on the internet trying to win over a lot of these youths onto negativity, but they seldom claims. And I think being parents, me putting myself in that category, we tend to do as much, but we need to have access to their phones to have that code. But as they get older, we don't have that access. What we have is building that communication. And as stated, taking time just to say, how are you? How was your day? What's going on? What's on your mind? What do you want to discuss? What's new? build a friendship with your child, but along the path, the child has to know who the parent is. But being that friend, having that open communication, my mother was my best friend, to be honest with you. Even though I was creating so much havoc on the street, I would tell my mom before I would tell my dad, because once I know I have my friend, my mom, and if something happens, she would go and talk to my dad before someone else come and tell my dad. So when you have that communication and that trust and knowing that, you know what you did is wrong, we need to talk about it. You will be punished, because back then, we get punishment. They take away your toys, your games as a youth, and then this, when she keep getting older, we're not going to buy you this and so forth. But when you have that trust in your parent, and the parent have that trust in you, whatever else is out there facing you, you can always deviate from. So that online platform, this internet is so dangerous. You know, these radical groups are out there. But again, we need to have the community get involved. Community centers are no more, Dennis. When I was growing up, we had so many, community centers, but now they're focusing on the police, police, police. Let's just talk about the police just a minute, Dennis.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a black boy,
Mhm.
and I come outside. I'm hearing in the media all the time the white police are killing the black man. The white police are abusing the black this and that. And I come out, I don't see police of my color. I see police of the white color, the other race. Now, I'm frightened. So if something was to happen, what am I going to do? If I get caught in the wrong place, what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to walk away alive? So there's a lot of things going on with the police system, and a lot of the youths that I deal with feel as though they're animals in a cage where the police are the guards that have to go around them to make sure they stay in their place. It's absurd. But when I was growing up, we had community centers we can go to. The internet was there, but not the way it is now. But we had our friends that we can communicate with. We had our friends' family. We had our parents, our siblings. So there's a whole range of ways that we can break this barrier. There should be a time when the child should not be on the internet. Give the internet a break. Let's spend time. But now you look into a lot of homes, they can be having dinner together. Everybody's on their phone.
Mhm.
You go out to a restaurant. There has to be a cease to that somehow.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, then is to put in a shell, radicalization can stop, but
Mhm.
we have to start everything from
Mhm.
home. Everything starts at home, Dennis.
Mhm.
Good
I,
parenting, good role models.
mhm.
Everything has to start at home, and communication should be the key.
Yeah, I was just going to emphasize really the importance of, having an open communication within the family, and of course the role of the support network, so that, young people do not get, attracted to these harmful online groups. Now, you've done a lot of work, Unisa. You've got your show in Amaze TV, and you've got your Kamara and Kamara workshops, and you're also a motivational speaker. But essentially, what's the most important thing that you want the public to know about your work?
Wow. I believe in what I do, Dennis. I do it because it's something that I sincerely believe in. It's a passion for me. It's a passion. I look forward to it. I crave to make a difference. It's not just a purpose. It's something that I I have this passion just to make a difference, to see the betterment of people, to see the light in within people come on. You know, I am striving to change as many lives as I can. I work with so many groups. I am not afraid to go anywhere and talk. I'm supposed to be going to India at the end of this this pandemic.
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to go anywhere. So these are all things I strive towards. I can I want to make changes directly and indirectly. We have developed programs for the young youths to learn and understand their true values. Once they're able to understand their true values, their true callings, they can make such an impact in society and the world they live in. So what I do, it's a passion. It's my calling because of what I've been through. But now it's a passion just for me to make that difference in life.
And for those who want to follow your footpath, that they want to launch their business, what would be your advice?
Research, research, research. Supply and demand. Do your research, know what is needed in the community. And if you're not focusing in the community, you're focusing worldwide, see what the world is lacking. Once you understand this, and then you try to build a good foundation. And once you build in this foundation, this company, this business, the people that you're bringing aboard understand their work ethics. And always, you are the leader of this team, you're the leader of this company.
Mhm.
They will replicate what they see. So, by you striving, when I have my company, people will tell you, sometimes when they used to come to my office, they'll see me with a broom sweeping. And they'll be like, is Mr. Kamara here? They'll be like, that's Mr. Kamara with the broom. And I would say, you want me to get you a cup of tea? We had a secretary. We had people come in and clean. But you know what? I'm I wear I'm not afraid to fold my sleeves up. And when I get on that into my work zone, sometimes I stay till 10, 11 o'clock. And when I come home, I'm still working. And that's what my team replicates. So if you want to build a company, you have to have a why. Why do I want to build this company? What is the essence of this company? What is it going to bring in my life? Or what am I giving out? What's the win? Once you have a why, there's nothing that can stop you.
Mhm.
So if you want to sincerely build a strong company, remember, this is your vision.
Mhm.
Your company is your vision. That's your baby. Nurture your baby. Understand what your baby needs and strengthen your baby. It's like a tree. Once you plant the seed, you water it. And some people talk to it. But how you manifest yourself is how things will manifest onto you. How you look at yourself is how other people look at you. We're all entitled to our own opinions, but focus on you. This is your goal. This is your dream. Do your research. Do your due diligence. You understand? Know who you're working with and just strive. Don't let nothing stop you. Just go.
Absolutely. And Unisa, on a less serious note, you're very busy, but how do you relax? What's your distressing outlet?
Ah, Dennis, I am. I love nature, Dennis. I have a river by my house, and I sometimes take pictures of me doing cartwheels.
Mhm.
I go, even though I end up falling down, but I'm still thinking I'm young. I do, I'm trying to do cartwheels. Being around water gives me a sense of serenity. I will take a book, I'll take my phone, I'll put some jazz music in the background, and I open up a book and I would dive in that book. I would go for a run, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. When I'm up all night, I can't sleep. I figure, well, if I work myself out, this will put me to sleep. But it's quite relaxing. When you move, your brain also relaxes. You know, the more you move, the more you think. So when I'm out there running, it gives me the time to reflect on a lot of things. It gives me the time to, and to me, it's a form of relaxation. Being around my family is also quite relaxing. So, not to go into it too much, but the time that I say is my time, regardless how busy we are in the day, Dennis, we have to have my me time in within that range. When you go to work, that's why they give you a break. So you have your time to relax, your time to sit down. So regardless how busy we are, we have to find time for us. So me, I love my jazz music. I love just going for a walk, jogging, and I love being by the water.
Absolutely, fantastic activities to relax. And just out of interest, Unisa, what do you think you would be doing if you didn't work within the mental health sector, within the youth empowerment sector? What do you think you would be doing?
Well, Dennis, I'm not going to sit here and say I was a good guy. I'm not going to sit here and say I was a bad guy, but I did my barrel of dirt. You understand? And when my girlfriend at that time was shot in the head and she died in my arms, and me having to take her with the bullet in her head, me carrying her into the emergency room in Washington, D.C., right up from my school, Howard University. The bullet, she was shot. So that's when I decided I need to make a change. So the first business that I opened up, I was making money. I could have stayed there and say, I don't care about the drugs, the guns that are coming in. I'm okay with it. I'm making money. So if I was not involved in the mental aspect, the sector right now, I would still continue to support people in a way of trying to get them out of that negative environment. There are a lot of people that are trying so hard to get out of this projects, this bad areas, these bad homes. So I would continue, even initially, Dennis, when I moved to the UK, that was my goal. I was going to start buying houses again and putting them in the market and go around certain communities because right now I'm in contact with numerous of mayors here in the UK. So that was going to be something I was going to look forward to doing. So in any aspect, again, what we go through in life is what's going to lead us to our destination. And what I've been through, what I've experienced, and what I've seen is what has brought me to this point. So, one way or another, I know I was going to try to make a difference.
Absolutely. And finally, Onisa, what else is in the pipeline? And also, if people wanted to reach you, what platforms can they get in touch with you?
My website is www.unisakamara.com, unisakamara.com. My YouTube channel is UNISA KAMARA. Go in, lend an ear, like the video, share the video. You never know who needs to listen. You never know who needs to hear those words at that point in time. I'm on Facebook, Unisa Kamara. Dennis, I love my name, as you can tell.
Yeah, I do the same. It's very it's a lot easy to share if you've got consistent branding. But Unisa, thank you for sharing to us your very inspiring story. It's really a testament to what people can do to rebuild their lives. I'm really a big fan of what you do. Thank you so much for being on the VRH show. But unfortunately, our time is up. But Unisa, I look forward to hearing more about your work, and I'm going to put all those links in the notebook so people can, get in touch with you and learn more about the important work that you do. Thank you so much.
Dennis, I thank you for having me here, and I look forward to working with you down the line. 2021, the possibilities are limitless. So
Yeah.
I look forward to it. And thank you all. Thanks again, Dennis.